They gave us this room, and they've given it to us for free for 2 times. It appears traditional banks are not necessarily meant to finance agric in the way it is done here. He's saying we need non-banks and special vehicles. The effort I see in Ghana is something they call GERSAL. The Ghana something risk sharing, something agricultural lending, something. Is that helping, or are they right? If we want financing for agric in terms of the production, it's not a traditional bank we need. I'm putting Tara on the spot. If he says anything wrong, Frank, you will catch him. Because Frank is... So whatever you are saying, make sure you know that he's sitting next to you. So you go ahead and say it.
Okay. I wasn't prepared for this, but listen up. Agric is a business. And I think one of the speakers mentioned it, right? And I think my brother here said, let's not look at agric as a poverty reduction. There's a lot of money in agric. If you do it right, you shouldn't be afraid of a facility. I mean, but the facility must be priced right. I mean, but must be structured right. Okay. Actually, it is easier to give loans to agric than to real estate. Okay. I mean, what's the cycle for sales in real estate? But people take loans and go into real estate and then get into trouble. The problem with agric, in my view, from my limited knowledge, is that we don't put enough science and investment into agric. I mean, there's predictability when it comes to lending. Somebody needs to be able to measure your ability to pay. One of the weakest points in agric today, in my view, is lack of predictability. But there are bodies like GIZ and other international bodies and banks across the world that are investing into predictability. What is the quality of the soil? What is the forecast for rain? What is irrigation? All these things help you to be able to predict yield. And once you can predict yield, you can give a facility. Now, the next thing is pricing. I mean, today, lending rates are dropping. The minute government begins to borrow at 10, 11, today T-bills are sitting about 10 point something, then it means that lending rates are coming down. So for me, I don't think it's an issue of, we've had special purpose banks. We've had ADB. But I can tell you that EcoBank probably does more. In fact, not probably. I can say with every confidence that we do more in agric than that special vehicle bank. We partner with international banks that are specialized in agric. We have an agric person specifically whose main job is to help us to drive the agric value chain. So there's a lot of money that goes into agric. The problem for me is all the things that have been said here. Are we large enough? Are we building at scale? Are we putting enough science behind it? I mean, if we can put these two together, I think there's no fear about facilities, because they will be priced right, they will be structured right, the yield will be there, and we'll build well.
Wonderful.
That's my answer.
Thank you, Tara Square. The floor is still open on the finance. If there's anything on the finance, then I move to another thing. So it's sort of thematic. Is there any point on the finance? All right, so the gentleman at the back, just tell us who you are, and then... Oh, all right.
So, my name is Timothy Alabi. I'm the Agri-Sector Manager for EcoBank, Ghana.
Wonderful.
And I would say that, yes, there are programs that give you low interest rates for agri.
Yeah.
Because at EcoBank, we realize the need to have those low interest rates. So, I mean, financing shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah.
We have interest rates that are low at 7%.
Yeah.
For agribusiness. So, if you are interested, just see me after the program. I'm on Ɔdadeɛ 93.
Oh, wonderful.
Thank you.
And Tara is Ɔdadeɛ 91 O-level and then 93 A-level as well. So you are at them on the matter. Any contrary view on the financing bit before I move to something else? Yes, Mr. Somwa, where is his mic? Please give back to him.
It's interesting. We should admit a fact that the way our banks are structured and regulated, and where agriculture is today, the banks cannot lift us up to the scale that will give comfort to any bank because of regulation. Okay? For example, credit goes through a certain process in Ghana. I've had a few loan applications that by the time they were approved, I cannot make money. I had to reject. because of the regulation they have to go through, the due diligence they have to do, and the processes. So, as a country, or let's take any country that has decided to go on that path, don't use banks. Take, for example, in way back 1820, two gentlemen again decided to find a mechanism to finance France agriculture. Today, that has come to a full-blown bank and is one of the largest banks in Europe. Credit Agricole.
Okay.
At the time, just before the First World War, agriculture productivity in France was lower than what is in Ghana today. The problem that agriculture is the largest non-performing loan in Ghana's financial system. It's not because agriculture is bad or not, but where our agriculture is, we can't use
the kind of banks and the way they are regulated.
Yes, the international standards and requirements.
It will not work.
For example, I've applied for a facility from a bank. Okay? And I work with a lot of farmers. So in my model, I do the predictability. I assess your soil. I assess the weather. I assess the market before I go in. The bank says, prepare the land. After I prepared the land, I sent images because I use GPS. Wow. I sent to the bank. The bank says, what is your skin in the game? I tell them my skin in the game. The bank comes with the approval in mid-August.
When did you apply?
I applied somewhere in April.
Wow.
So in mid-August, in Tumu, where is the rain if I continue? So what I have come to understand is that the banks end up compounding the risk when you borrow. Way back in 1933, it was an act of the Senate of the US that for you to lend to agriculture production as a bank, it has to be in sync with the production cycle.
Wow.
So in that space, agriculture credit goes to producer cooperatives, and the recovery rate is in the 90s.
So it's the design of the system.
It's the design of the system, and especially on the bank's understanding of how to structure the facility.
Charlie, you did for
most of the time, they structure the facility such that you can make money with it.
Okay. Mr. Boateng, you want to add in comments?
Yes, very briefly.
Yes.
You want to bring it home.
Yes, please.
All sorts of credit available, MasterCard Foundation, all sorts of credit. When you delve in, credit is driven through the banks to farmers like us. But for whatever reason, there's so much, for want of a better word, I'll say bureaucracy or whatever, time wasting. In farming, the seasons will not wait for you. Just as he's saying. And I have an example of a colleague farmer in Wenchi who said he was pursuing a MasterCard Foundation at a specialized credit interest of about 7 or 9%. 7%. The bank in question kept asking for everything, including his marital certificate. Okay? So he said, this kind of delay tactics, just get out. He didn't get a loan anyway.
Yeah.
So we still are convinced that banks are nervous when it comes to agriculture. But like he said, if a specialized funding or financing go to specialized agricultural establishments, the banks create strong agricultural desks and do proper diligence. Take it along the value chain like another holistic approach. How much is the farmer's knowledge? What is the land? And what are the guarantees to guard against failure and all of that? I think the banks will feel much more comfortable. Wonderful. But today, even when the funding primarily is coming from MasterCard Foundation, it's almost impossible to get it. Thank
Wonderful.
you.
Put your hands together for him. Like to take... No, I think we can move on. Look, both points can coexist without it becoming a debate. So let's move away into something else beyond the finance. Tara. So is there any other issue? If you can go to the... Okay, oh Lord. Okay, let's go to the back. Can you give the mic to the man at the way back? Where are you? Please rise at the back. Yes. Yes, give the mic to him. And then there's one here. You were my Greek prefect when I was in pre-sec, so maybe you have something to say. And then we used to eat eggs from the, the Mrs. Champ on the Greek. Yeah. And I didn't narrow this guy.
Yaokuram. Ɔdadeɛ 94-96.
Yeah.
And I'm a Greek logistics practitioner and a farmer. I'm a poultry farmer too.
Yes, sir.
The problem I see is rather with infrastructure.
Okay.
The way we structure, I've been an aggregator. I used to work for the biggest aggregator in the country. I've been importing fertilizer for Ministry of Agric, Ghana Cocoa Board. I've done all from farm gates to the port. And it's infrastructure. For instance, in 2013, I aggregated 70,000 tons of maize in this country. And I had to fill up all the warehouses in Tamale, all the warehouses, Ghana Cotton, Winco warehouses in Tumu, Winco warehouse, Ghana Cotton in Pusu Namango, Tema, B5+ warehouses everywhere. And it was just a nightmare. Even getting trucks to move maize was a nightmare. And then it adds to the cost. So then your break-even point goes so high that you come to the market, you're not getting anything, even though you've been productive. And because you have a glut now, the prices also come down. If you have, say, badges like Dr. Sumwa talked about, you don't put your grain in a sack. Meanwhile, just by putting maize in a sack, you add cost to it. The laborer who carries it takes you 1 cedi. The one who offloads it takes you 1 cedi. Another who carries it takes you 1 cedi. And then the cost of the sack. Then you have to get somebody to be cutting it. And they're sewing of just the one sack. So by the time you turn your head, the sack has added about 10 cedis or more to your, for nothing. So if you are doing 1,000 hectares, and you are doing 30 bags per acre, and you have to go through all this, just that alone, the bank will run away from you. Because if they calculate those things, and then you are doing fertilizer 3 bags per acre, you are bringing the same bag from Tema. When your vessel docks, somebody has to be sewing the sacks, bagging in Tema and sewing. And then they charge you the same thing. It goes onto the truck, first warehouse, second warehouse, third warehouse, demurrage, and everything. If you were doing bulk, the vessel comes in, they put it in a hopper, everything goes off in 2-3 days. You get a discharge payment instead of demurrage. The shipping line will pay you if you discharge quickly. And so your cost starts coming down.
Yeah.
The 1,000 hectare farmer doesn't need the sacks. He brings bulk trucks, picks the fertilizer, puts it in his fertilizer spreader. He cuts off all the one bag, one CD,
Okay.
1 CD, 1 CD.
Okay.
And then he spreads his fertilizer. And
Okay. So if I hear you right, you're saying the problem is infrastructure, and the answer is scale. That if you are of a larger scale, you can lower your cost.
The infrastructure will let you go increase the scale. If you have a trade, for instance, and you are doing bulk, you can offload a vessel in 3 days. A 20,000-ton fertilizer vessel, you can offload it in 3 days. Because the train carries about 500 carts and then it goes. Meanwhile, you are looking for 500 articulators to go to Tumu. You won't even get some.
So infrastructure for you is the key point.
It's the key.
We take note of that. Thank you. Let me come back here. Yes. I need to come and get this mic so that we can have two. Now we have only one mic. Give it to the gentleman. Yeah, take this extra one.
My name is Yaya Alpha Subero, Ɔdadeɛ 93. I was going to say something different, but I think I'll dovetail on what he said. So I'm with a company called River Transport and Trading, and the last 8 years we've been looking at using inland water transport as a way of moving agricultural produce from the north to the south. And we realized that if you look at road transport and the cost per ton, as opposed to inland water transport, the same price per ton, it's just a fraction of the cost. So I totally agree. And that doesn't even have to go with a bulk or someone on a large scale. I mean, when you go to Akatem, for example, they're using canoes to bring from Afram Plains Meanwhile, somewhere around Tumu, northern part of it, they can use the water 420 kilometers. Anyway, the main thing I wanted to ask, our motto says, in the light we shall see light. You shed so much light on the problems of agriculture in Ghana, but it seems like I'm a bit in the dark. Because when you talk to people who are manufacturing, the agribusiness, like HPW, Blue Sky, they tell you Ghana is not supplying enough fruits. Yeah. So they go to other countries. And here we are hearing people saying that they have 40%, 20% of their mangoes getting rotten. So
what's the missing link?
There is a bit of disconnect for me. Yeah. Is it because we are producing so much, but the quality is so bad that we can't get people to use? But the question that I have, if that's the case, and then today we're saying that most of our diseases are metabolic diseases, so which means are we producing things that are not good enough for us to consume here?
Wonderful.
And, so anyway, I wouldn't take too
much. So that's a great question. Mr. Boateng will take note of that and answer it appropriately in relation to that disconnect. Any more thoughts from this side? All right, so let's move. Okay, let me come here. Come to the middle. Raise your hand, yes. He was the Agric. Were you Agric prefect? Yes. No, this guy in front of you. Yeah. 97.
Right. So my name is Dennis Egan, and I'm an economist.
Yes.
A few points. The issue of coordination is critical. I think it has been mentioned. And we have a lot of good institutions with the orientation to do everything we need here. But the issue is about coordination. The universities are researching. CSR is doing the same research. Private entities are doing research. But it's a coordination. So, the coordination also goes into policy and project implementations. Yeah. You have so many organizations in the country almost duplicating the same thing. Yeah. And just rename it, just changing adjectives. And they'll just repeat the same thing.
So we need coordination.
So the coordination is very key in research and in policy development and projects.
Okay.
So that, the little resources we have don't just get wasted. Sometimes the report we get is just a duplication of somebody's report. Because the programs and projects are implemented in the same zone, using the same offices. So they just go and copy somebody's report and give it to you.
Go to the second point.
So, the issue is also of the issue on the CSIR moving to agric. I also don't support the idea.
Okay.
CSIR has a bigger objective.
Okay.
If we need, it's also an issue of the coordination. If CSIR has an agric desk and an officer there, and Ministry of Agri has an officer, we can have that system where all these institutions can have a center where they can meet and discuss their programs.
Thank you.
One thing I also see with the agriculture sector is attitude. All the problems we are discussing is attitude.
All right.
Because people are building kingdoms in where they occupy, where they work. And they don't want to let little resources go away. So they will do everything to frustrate you just to protect what they are earning.
Okay.
And it's also, it goes all over.
Thank you.
So once we solve the attitude problem, I think we can.
Because a lot of people want to talk, let's keep it brief. The man behind, just give the man behind you. He's wearing black. Give it to him. I'm moving this way. Yeah.
All right. So my name is Freeman. Ɔdadeɛ 2009.
Yeah.
So I have two quick questions. I heard from the presentation that food inflation drives overall inflation.
Yes.
That means that once you have bulk supply of food, inflation drops. As a farmer, how do you marry the quest for inflation to be low and then you making profit? Because you benchmark or project, like you said, 1,200 cedis for a bag of maize. And then prices are low, and then you are selling at 500, which you might run at a loss. So as a country and as a farmer, where do you find the middle ground? Second question, I'd like the panelists to share some of the institutional support they got. For Mr. Boateng, he was in the corporate world, he's made his money, so I'm sure he has some. But as an entry-level graduate or someone burning with a passion for agriculture, where do you start from? Access to land. I have a lot of arable land, but you can't just go to Chopoli and start farming, right, even though the land is bare, how do you get the source of fund? Where do you start from?
Great question.
Yes, if you don't have the resources.
Okay.
That's my question.
So what I want to do is I want to take questions so that we can manage the time, right? So I have a standing question from you. I have 2 questions from you. So if what you have is a question, let me know. So stay on that lane. Stay on that lane. Yes, give it to them. Question. Yes, sir.
Francis Ofosikobia is my name. I do building construction and I want to do a Greek. I have one quick request. Looking at the insight we've gotten from them, I want to ask the organizers, can we do it 6 hours so that we give each presenter 1 hour instead of this 15 minutes another time? My second question is that, how can we do a transfer of knowledge? Looking at the presenters, I think our only madam will be less than 40 years. All of them are about 40. And look at the knowledge they have. So I'm asking myself, the youth in Ghana, those who are less than 30, do we have knowledge like this? And if we grow like them, can we have this knowledge? So how can they transfer their knowledge to them? And finally, they have given us so much suggestion. One is land clearing, one is making aggregate business. All these beautiful suggestions, who is going to do? Is the Ghana government for the 4 years? Okay. Or those of us sitting here? Thank you.
Thank you. Hold on. So we're trying to calibrate the question so we can know how to address them. There's a question on disconnect in the issue of fruit gets missing, yet we are not producing enough. That kind of dichotomy question. Then the inflation question as well. And then the institutional support to start farming and land issues. Then knowledge transfer, young people question. So please be thinking about who's going to answer. Right? Thank you. So you go ahead.
Yeah, I'm Ɔdadeɛ 80. All right. And I have a very simple issue that for the CSR to throw light on. And my issue is about lean seasons. You know, with this yearly ritual, we are going to Burkina Faso to go and buy tomatoes, to go and buy water and so on. So with regard to research, I will humbly request if you can throw light on effort you've made to research varieties that would deal with lean seasons. What I've come across is that most of the issues and most of the crops are grown in greenhouses? But I'm talking about open fields, especially with regard to vegetables. So if you can throw light on the research work we have done on those issues.
Thank you. So that goes straight to
CSIR.
CSIR. So let's take some answers. I think we've had enough questions. Is there any student with a question? Is there any student? By the way, are you a Greek science student? All right. Yes, sir. Let's take your question.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. So my question is, how do we change the mindset of the youth about how agriculture is? Because right now, as it stands, we see agriculture as a punishment, maybe to go and work in the farm whilst we are supposed to sit in class. So how do we change this mindset and start to see agriculture as a business that drives the economy? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Put your hands together for him. So I'm going to let the beacon address that question plus the question on the youth. So I'll start with you, then I'll work my way. Inflation question I'll give to a Greek economist, and then the dichotomy question I'll spread it around. So let me start with Madam. Yes, go ahead.
Thank you very much. I think I'll start with the students and then move to the man. My guy, as you are seeing us here, are you not so happy about it? Are you not impressed with agriculture? Yes, because that mindset has to be moved out. If we add business to agriculture, we see that agric is profitable. And you have that mindset, as the speaker was speaking, that for punishment, that's what, if that mindset, you have to take it out and then see it as business. At my side, the question the man asked, that how do we share knowledge with others for them to see? My side, we are open for people to come for training. Okay. We have students coming from even from the GSS and then Ohawu Agri College, who comes there most of the time to do industrial attachment, to gain knowledge so that they will pass it on. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let's stay here. Agri economics, inflation question.
Yeah, thank you. So with the inflation, the food inflation, the prices are taken at the market. So the maize is produced at the farm, it's transported, it gets to the market. Okay. So if the transportation cost is always high, given, what determines that inflation is the price of the commodity on the farm. Currently, we are assuming that transportation cost is expensive. So given, so that is where the price of the maize on the farm now determines the inflation. But certainly, the price is made up of the farm gate price plus the transportation to the farm. It's even include whoever is even going to purchase it, because when they go around collecting the price, they ask you, how much are you paying for this? So their price, their cost built into the final product on the market, and that is where the challenge is. So the infrastructure is key.
Thank you.
To reduce it.
CSIR, Dr. Asa, the question was direct to you.
Yeah, I think there are a number of issues that needs CSIR attention. I've captured a lot here. One is research coordination. We have also institutional support that is also there.
No, there was a direct question to you from him about there's a lean season.
Okay.
And what does your research say about how to grow vegetables in the lean season so you wouldn't have to import tomatoes from, say, Burkina Faso? So do you have any research that would tell us how to grow? Yeah, that's the direct question to you.
Okay, the lean season is cyclic. Hello?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. It happens every year. Around this time, let's make it from April, May, June, getting to July, it's called the lean season. It's lean season because food is not available. And that is also a driver of the food inflation. And the reason is that most of our production is about one cycle. The north is one cycle. We were in the north almost half a year. There's nothing happening. After one season, after harvesting and after processing, etc., storage, from, let's say, December to about June, July, there's no food because it's one season. So definitely that will happen unless productivity goes up. And the productivity and storage. And also multiple cropping. And that's why we've been insisting on irrigation. And I made mention of the example of Mali. Mali is drier than northern region here. It's a Sahel country. In fact, some of the Sahel countries, like Senegal, they also have a very large-scale irrigation. Where we had a center, Africa Rice Center, where I stayed at St. Louis on the border of Mauritania. The rainfall is 2 months. And within 2 months, it rains 200 millimeters for the year, finished. Senegal produces rice about 3 cycles there. They are self-sufficient in tomato production over there. You go there, trucks are carrying it to the factories for processing. They are self-sufficient in onions in Senegal. They are self-sufficient in sugar. They use the Senegal River to irrigate all these things. There's no rain. I mean, you go there, 10 months, you haven't seen a drop of rain.
So it's irrigation.
Irrigation is very important, and modernization of agriculture and agricultural productivity.
Wonderful.
And also productivity now, because of the climate change and the bound of risk and bank risk, and etc., the emphasis on the research institutions is to develop, we call 2 things, adaptation, our technology developments for adaptation and mitigation. They should be adapted, and the varieties that are coming out, you can get about heat-tolerant varieties because, some areas heat is going up. And when heat is up, pollination is affected. For example, wheat. We have wheat-tolerant, I'm moving from a little bit, but we promoting wheat-tolerant varieties. Now coming to Ghana, Professor is going to wheat. We are supporting them. Heat-tolerant varieties. Now Canada, it's no more Canada when it's cold. It's coming here. Okay. So we have a drought-tolerant, varieties.
So we have the varieties that can withstand this.
Management, soil management, soil water management for soil to retain. And also we are encouraging lowland production where water can be managed. Right? For example, most farmers in most of African countries are going into the inland valley production.
Yeah.
Because that's where you are guaranteed of getting water and you can do about 2 cycles or 3 cycles.
So the research is there.
Research is bringing productivity and production and also the irrigation for the cycles.
Great.
Then we can reduce this, the annual ritual of, lean season is coming. It affects also industries. Industries are not able to get raw materials.
All right.
And
Thank you. Thank you. Not to cut you. We have to go at 9. So I want to take his answer to the question on what was your question, Seth? Mango something. Yes. your mango question, yes.
Because of where you are sitting, I prefer to stand. Yes. My brother, what drives demand, and especially for mangoes and fruits, is quality. So it is the biological issues. Biological simply means disease and pest and all that. So if you have the quality, it will be bought. Okay? However, assuming that your quality is still the best, there's no guarantee that all your mangoes will be bought in this country. And the reason is that the local consumption is less than the capacity which is available. So so we will always have a surplus at this point in time. We will always have a surplus because the capacity is just too small. And that is why you have the Blue Skies and the HPWs going to other countries to pick fruits first, because those fruits are cheaper. And from the other presentations, you heard that they are cheaper because they do things better in those countries. Government makes an investment. Mass spraying, you use a knapsack, but in those countries, you have aircraft doing area spraying. So their cost of operation is lower. Now, mangoes coming in from Burkina Faso, for instance, can land in Blue Skies at 25 US cents per kilo. Mangoes coming from my farm is bought at around 40 cents. So they will always go there. However, the opportunity is in exports. The export people are looking for quality fruits because of what is happening in Latin America. So the thing is for us to focus on the quality. The unfortunate bit is that to get the quality, you need financing. And our traditional banks, I say again, are nervous.
Thank you. We'll take a comment from him on there was a last question around a young person wants to enter a Greek. How does he get help, land, and that type of thing? The two of you address and we wrap up. Thank you.
All right. Like I said, there's a need for land reform. Basically, I think if you want to go into agriculture today as a young person, it's difficult. I don't want to lie to you. It's difficult. There's no institutional support anywhere for you. That's the fact. So until we do something about it, agriculture today cannot be attractive for young people. That's a fact. If you want to do the same agriculture today in Burkina Faso, it's different. There's an institutional support for you. You can walk to a cooperative. You can walk to a farmer union and say you want to farm, and you get support. In Ghana, it's not the same. So the fact is that if we don't do something about how we're doing agriculture, it cannot be attractive for young people. That's the fact.
Thank you.
I want to just touch briefly on the inflation issue. Our cost of production is too high. That's the problem. It's not that the price is not good. The food prices in Ghana are high. If you look around the world, we get, for example, like I was saying, if you go to Brazil today, you are buying maize around $200 per metric ton. Ghana, sometimes we get $400 per metric ton for maize, and it's still not good. So that's why we're importing a lot of maize from Brazil. It's not price. Ghana's problem is not price. Ghana's problem is cost of production.
All right. Thank you. Let me leave the last word to Ɔdadeɛ Amoakohene, So closing, just anything, final thoughts to answer any question. Please give him the mic. Then I'll invite the chair to give us a closing remarks, and then we'll sing the school anthem, and we'll live happily ever after. Amen. So let's take your final comment.
Yeah. Okay. For the young person, Agric is beautiful. Agric is nice to work in. What everybody has said is that it has to be targeted. We have to intentionally make it work because it's quite expensive. Things like block farming, where you can take a place and clear it up nicely, the proper way, that people can go and have tractor services, and those things help in Agric. Maybe even everybody gets, 10 acres, a small bungalow, or something like that. We have to intentionally make it attractive for the young people to go there. And also, when the people start seeing rich agriculturists, rich farmers, that will also be good for us.
Thank you. Let's dance together for a panel. You can resume your seats. Thank you very much. This is Ɔdadeɛ National Dialogue Conversations under the Baobab tree. Our chair is in the house. She joined us much earlier on. Her opening remarks were read eloquently for her by Ɔdadeɛ Samado. She's going to give us the closing remarks. Let me just, before I bring her up, acknowledge a few more Ɔdadeɛ's. Honorable Isaf Husseini, former MP. Where are you? Good to see you. Put your hands together for him. Ɔdadeɛ Ninoy Adumwa, former MC for Adentan. Yaya Alpha Suberu, River Transport. You already came. Thank you. Ɔdadeɛ Dr. Opoku Arampoma, former CEO of Kolebu. Where is he? Thank you. Ɔdadeɛ Isaac Sampon, former school prefect. Where are you? Everybody's a former something. But Patricia Obonai is not a former anything. She's the current CEO of Telecel Ghana. She's our chairperson. So please bring us the closing remarks. Let's welcome her to a round of applause. Thank you.
Thank you, Bernard. Good evening, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I think it's been an evening well spent. I'm not surprised at the quality of the delivery this evening. What impresses me most is that these talents made time to join us, and we're very, very grateful for your time. Very, very grateful. Thank you very much. Can we give them a big round of applause? I came here to be challenged because I didn't know so much about Agric. I think I've acquired so much knowledge, and many of you will attest to the same. I'm also here to tap into business opportunities. I'm a business person. And whilst we have shared the challenges, all I hear are opportunities. I'm sure there's so much that everybody is taking away, and you will tap into the opportunity and become a farmer or do something out of the knowledge that has been shared. If there's nothing you are taking away at all, at least I know I can make $1 million from mangoes. So I'm going to do that. Thank you all very much for coming. And I really want to thank the planning committee. I really acknowledge the work that you have done to bring together all these amazing people. It's been a fantastic evening. And we look forward to another great dialogue under the Baobab tree next year. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. You kept it short and sweet. We'd like to acknowledge the planning committee. Not all of them are here, but if you are here, please rise to acknowledge you. This has been a collective effort of a lot of people. Ɔdadeɛ Reverend Dr. Makwe, he's not here with us. Ɔdadeɛ Samado. Is it 74 or 76? 76, thank you. Ɔdadeɛ Edikofi, he's coordinating affairs from the US. They send WhatsApp message, rough. Fico. Let's put hands together for him. Ɔdadeɛ Isaac, thank you so much. He will conduct the anthem when we are closing. Dr. Niboy Hammond, 96. Where is he? Dr. Niboy Hammond. Thank you. Oh, you know, clap for him. Ɔdadeɛ Frederick Nayo Abe. Nayo, 2005. Ɔdadeɛ Chris Johnson, 2003. 2004. Leonard Ekufu Kwapong, he's 2005 as well. He's not here. Benjamin Ajay Pipra, who doubles. He's Charlie hardworking. Any work boy. Charlie, they from Ɔdadeɛ radio everything. Ɔdadeɛ Albert Nenya Rebuakwa 98. He's not here. Ɔdadeɛ Edward Ekufu Pari. Where is he? Thank you. And then Daniel Delali Adanu. Thank you. And of course, the MC Bernard, who is also a member of the committee. We'd like to thank the patrons who've made this possible. Of course, Global President Dr. Ernest Ufori Sapong. And of course, Dr. Frank Edu for your great support in the background. And the global executives for giving us the go-ahead. This is the second version. We may actually do a third version before the year ends.
Yes, thank you.
So we can do one more?
Yes.
Okay. So all those of you say we should do one more, say aye. Aye. Those who say we shouldn't do, say no. The ayes have it. I'd like to invite Isaac Kwe to lead us. This time the school anthem will be played digitally whilst we sing along to it. But I still need you to conduct in your most animated way. So let's welcome Isaac Kwe. Is there refreshment? So there's some drinks from Specialized at the back. There's also, you can scan the program. What else do you have to advise? Everything is done. Wonderful. So Isaac Kwe, please come and lead us. We'll take the school anthem. And then we also have souvenirs that you can buy. Please go up there. Souvenirs that you can buy. Let's rise. And then we will be out of your way. Thank you.
Are we, studios are we, students of Presbyterian Secondary School, onward we march, we trudge along to happy victory, to victory, to victory. Our motto is a solid blue above in us along. Illuminate, illuminate, to be the King of Women. In thy light, we shall see light. Illuminate, with them we must remain. For we the train and show us to take our places in the future of our country and church. To take our places in the future of our country. Happy studios are we. For Christian nations to take our places in the future of our country and church. To take our places in the future of our country. Happy studios are we.
Thank you. A big thank you to EcoBank for the venue and to Ɔdadeɛ Radio, ChannelOne Television and Joy News. We'll take a big group photograph, so if you can come up and just take a nice shot of us, and then the speakers and the panel members and the committee with our special guests, if you can just line up, Madam Chair, to take a nice group photograph here up there just for the record. So all the speakers, please come up stage. Madam Chair, please join them. And the... who else is joining the photo? Yes, planning committee members, please come up stage so we take a nice group photograph. There's refreshment outside. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time. There will be replays of this on TV and radio. We'll announce it on the
let's go back years ago, and I said I'll give you the speech I rendered at the program. Years ago, all we knew was Legon, even our time.
Yeah.
No other public university had the privilege of, or the opportunity, I should say, of organizing even LLB course. None. In fact, I said it in a very funny way, but I should be forgiven, that the moment you said you were doing law, the first question, so are you at Legon? You couldn't have said that you were in any other university. Then there was the need to decentralize. Then a number of universities were given accreditation and recognition. As we speak, there are over 17 universities, and more are applying to have the opportunity to offer the LLB. Then move forward. There's no way you could have said you are a lawyer, and I also say that just to add humor. The first thing that comes is, so have you finished Makola? Into where you Makola? If you said no, I haven't finished Makola, but I'm a lawyer, there is a huge.
So let me get something clear. It was under your tenure that the Makola was decentralized to include Kumasi.
No, not at all. So I'm giving you the history.
Okay.
So it was in 2010 when the Kumasi campus, through the instrumentality of Otufo and the General Legal Council, started the Makola campus.
The Kumasi version?
The Kumasi version.
All right. And then when did they have
subsequently, all because of exigencies, and that is how things get established in any case.
Yeah.
When the numbers were becoming overwhelming, then a place had to be got. This was also before me. I think it was my predecessor's time and Maxwell's time, when they got a UPSA and then also GIMPA. In fact, they also got Legon.
I see.
But subsequently, we had to leave Legon for some other reasons. So, as we speak, the Ghana School of Law has 4 campuses. Makola, or sometimes we call it the main campus. GIMPA campus. UPSA, which has the highest, about 800 plus students. And then KNUST in Kumasi.
Okay. Now, I'm not contesting you on this. For me, I haven't seen the full draft of the legal education bill. So
maybe let me just conclude by saying that number one is a bill. Well, it's a
work in progress.
A work in progress. I mean, we've seen bills start in a certain way and ended in any other way. I mean, I have not also had the benefit of seeing it. But I can assure you. And so what I'm saying is that the GLC and the Ghana School has never been averse to decentralization. Whenever there is exigencies, they have risen to the occasion. As we speak, Ghana School of Law's lecturers had a meeting about a month ago. We established a committee. We have had our own bill and I'm telling the public for the first time, that we are going to present to the attention. I actually received the draft copy, which is almost ready, on Monday.
A bill to reform legal education.
Yes.
Which is different from what the AG is talking about.
I don't know. At that time, I didn't know what the AG.
When did this process you are describing start?
This about a month ago. When the idea was mooted.
By who?
A few members of parliament. We all heard a few members of parliament saying that there
so
will
you have a draft bill that you want to submit to the AG?
Yes. The AG is our minister.
Meanwhile, the AG has already gone ahead to announce a draft bill, which is going
it doesn't matter. But you know, bills, parliament, even when it's gone to parliament, they will invite memoranda.
I see.
Yes, and this is our minister.
So you're confident that there will be a meeting of minds and that the current Ghana School of Law will not be abolished?
At all. Why will it be abolished? The Ghana School of Law can also operate like any university offering LLB. When we entered...
if the man says the Ghana School of Law system is being abolished, the school is part of the system.
No,
so if you abolish the system, the school may exist but in a different form.
You see, you understand that when a statement or a document is presented to you, you read it as a whole before you can make an informed decision or understanding. He went on to talk about what he means by the system, mainly examination.
Really?
And I've told you, Ghana School of Law doesn't organize examinations.
No, he talked about universities being allowed to provide practical legal education internally.
Yes.
And successful students will write a national exam.
Bernard, one, we have what we call the post-course system, which we organize.
Yeah.
For persons, especially Ghanaians, who for some reason have had to go to Gambia, the US, the UK, and the other common law countries to study law. Once they apply and show that the law they have studied is consistent with the requirements of the subject that we are to do here.
Okay.
They apply, we do interview in accordance with law, and we take them year on year. On the average, we don't get less than 80 people. That is one. There are people who have already finished Legon. There are people at the Ghana School of Law right now who finished Legon, UPSA, GIMPA 20, 30 years ago. They are back. Are they also going back to their own school? The number, over 3,000 people that are waiting, you don't think the Ghana School of Law will be the appropriate place for them to come instead of going back to their own schools? Again, don't forget that we are excited because the competition will be good for us. Again, the Ghana School of Law doesn't have its own statute. As I told you, it is owned by the General Legal Council under the Legal Profession Act. So why won't we be happy to have a statute like the Dombo University? I was there just 2 weeks ago. University, KNUSC, Legon, UPSA, GIMPA. Why can't the Ghana School of Law be excited to have a similar law, establishing it officially, so that we can also now do what the universities do? When we entered Makola in 1997, we had people, the QCL, they were doing the LLB right there at Makola for 2 years, and then joined those who are coming from Legon for 2 years. Why can't we get the opportunity to organize that for them as well? And so we are not afraid of any decentralization or change whatsoever. If there is an act that now establishes the Ghana School of Law like any other, as I've told you, just in the last 3 weeks, more than about 4 universities have applied to also offer LLB courses. Why can't a school called Ghana School of Law? We already have the lecturers, more than 100 lecturers. We are already having the system called internship, which is what, if I got one word the Attorney General used was clinical, if I heard it right, in the portion that I said I got. That is our clinical. It was even part of my vision that we wanted to extend it so that individuals from the communities can even come to Ghana School of Law, sit down with the students. These are my problems. Can you call my landlord so we resolve the rent issue or marital issues that we are allowed to resolve with a judge, with a lecturer, and with a student? That is the clinical system that we are also rolling out already. So if there is any institution that is well prepared for even the little we have heard from the Attorney General, it is the Ghana School of Law.
So at least we know that the Ghana School of Law itself has some recommendations for reform. The Attorney General also says there is a proposal for reform. Hopefully, by the time the process is over, we will see the full document. This is the point of view. We're speaking to His Nanaship. That's the moniker he's given. The Director of the Ghana School of Law, he's been in office since 2022, a Justice of the Court of Appeal, and of course the Marahini of Achime Buakwa. We call him Nana Berima Yaokode Opon. We'll be right back with more, including views around very interesting legal issues on land and landed property, and as well as some other matters. Stay with us.
My name is Anis Hafor. I'm currently serving as the chairman of the Barstow Ghana. What I've noticed with Barstow Ghana is that we are introducing the American curriculum for the first time into the country. And the interest that I have in it is that we want to do something that's a little different.
At the Barstow schools, we believe that true education extends beyond traditional learning. It is about preparing our students to thrive in a globally interconnected world. Our Ghana campus embodies this philosophy by offering a rigorous curriculum aligned with our Kansas City home campus.
Our mission is to promote sound scholarship
and to give symmetrical development to mind, body, and character.
Welcome back. So tonight, my guest is a man of three parts. He is a Justice of the Court of Appeal. He's the Director of Ghana School of Law, and of course, he is the Marehine of Achim Ebuakwa Traditional Area. We're looking at legal reform. He's headed the Ghana School of Law, which until recently was the only institution where you could professionally qualify to become a lawyer. Of course, there are some reforms being contemplated. In your 3 years, 3 months, what would you say has been the most significant thing you've achieved as director?
Well, let me be modest. I think that, first of all, I stood on the shoulders of those who have been ahead of me. But I would say that at least the rate of students passing with quality and valuable credentials has completely increased. I mean, in the last 3 years, from 2022 to present, we've got about 3,310 students.
Wow.
Being qualified to the bar.
Okay.
Let me give you the exact number. Yes, 3,310.
Okay.
As at this year May. We expect more, maybe close to 800 in the next call to the bar in October.
And what percentage is that?
The percentage, the 300, the 3,000. So let me tell you that. Let me give you these statistics quickly. We call something the role of lawyers. That is a document that contains the name of any person who has applied to practice law here. I'm saying so because some did their law in the UK and other countries. So this started in 1877. 1877. From 1877 to 1962, and I'll tell you why 1962. We have approximately 570 persons whose names have been entered in the Rule of Lawyers.
From 1877 to 1962.
You tell us how many years that is.
That's close to 200 years.
Yes. So the,
sorry.
100
years.
100, close to 100.
A few years below 100.
Yes.
577 lawyers.
570.
570
yes.
lawyers. Okay.
And I said 1962 because it is in 1963 that the first set of lawyers trained in Ghana at Makola were called to the bar.
1963. 63.
Yes.
All right.
So the next is, so from 1963 to 2025 May, we have 10,000.
Wow.
832 persons whose names have been entered in the Roll of Lawyers. Then from 1877 to 2025 May, we have 11,402. Now, out of this, from 2022 to 2025 May, as I already said, in the last 3 years, we produced 3,310.
So that's almost 1/4.
Almost 1/4
of all
that
we have in our history.
Over 150, almost 150 years.
In the 3 years that you've been?
In the 3 years, yes.
Hey. Is it a question of demand or the approach, or both?
Well, as I said, I will be modest, but by the grace of God.
But could that also, because don't forget that prior to your coming, there was always the issue of people not being able to gain entrance. So the demand may have been there, but the window was small. So maybe then, based on some of the things you've discussed, more people had a chance for the training.
Yes, and also, when people are motivated, including the workers, they give up their best, and the benefit ultimately trickles down to the students, as I would say. Yes. So we have projected that, looking at this number, we have projected that it will mean that each year 1,103 students are called to the bar on the average. So if you take the next 20 years, it means that then approximately we will have 22,060 lawyers being called to the bar.
Wow.
22,060 lawyers being called to the bar between now and the next 20 years.
Interesting.
Between now and 20 years time. So,
is there enough quality faculty to deal with those numbers?
Oh yes. I mean, as you can see, especially so now we don't organize the exams. So if our lecturers are not doing well, there's no way the students will have been able to pass examinations set by an institution called Independent Examinations Committee. So all praises to the lecturers. And of course, when you come to the Ghana School of Law and you see how intensely committed these students are with their studies, I don't think I've seen it anywhere else. I mean, speaking for my students.
Will opening the proverbial floodgates not lead to a reduction in quality of legal training?
Well, I beg to differ. I'll give a simple example. iPhone. I'm a very, maybe not the same fan of iPhone. I don't think, maybe there are only a few people who are like me. But when iPhone releases their phone, millions are released. Have you ever, how many times have you heard that there's a problem with a new iPhone release? So there is possibility, and actually we are doing it, achieving both quantity and quality. And so the two should not be separated at all. Go to the court. And you will see that, especially when we decided that, look, the internship should not be done during vacation.
Yeah.
It should be done whilst we are in school. So you come to for lectures 2 days, you go to the court 2 days, alternate for 3 months. And then the other 3 months, you alternate. Okay. You go to the chambers 2 days and come for lectures 2 days. Totally 6 months. Our time, the first time I went to court was when I was doing my moot court. That is the last practical. That was the first time I entered the courtroom. But here they are live, going to chambers, going to the court with the lawyers, or being in the court. And I know that the judges have been very generous within the law to allow these students to study, to know what is going on. So by the time they enter pupillage after school, they know so much in terms of practical than we had the opportunity to benefit from. Yes. So I'm not surprised that, and of course, above all, is by the grace of God. I mean, we have not discounted the overriding, if you like, benefit that we receive from God, and that has been our banner.
So now that you are a justice of the Court of Appeal, are you, and you are directing the law school, are you able to do both? Or is it like you are on secondment from the judiciary to run the School of Law?
Okay, so I started as an employee of the General Legal Council in 2022. And then when I became a judge, incidentally, last month, 23rd. No, we are still in July. It was last week that I had 1 year as a judge.
So 2024 July?
Yes.
Was when you became a judge?
Yes, 23rd July. So then I was seconded to the Ghana School of Law to manage the school.
Which is a full-time work?
Oh yes, and I've been sitting. Yesterday I sat in the Court of Appeal.
Whilst you also...
I sit as a judge, I manage the school as director, I teach 4 classes a week. Yes, it's my passion.
So I know you are quite the man on landed property and that type of thing.
Oh, but unknown to you, I also like civil procedure.
So you teach civil procedure?
Yes, I teach civil procedure.
At the School of Law?
4 times a week, yes.
And you go to court?
Yes.
And then you also administratively run?
Before my...
And you also a chief?
Before my creditors come to ask of their monies, I get one pay for all. I don't...
As an employee of the GLC?
Yes, I don't take money for teaching. I don't take money... different money as a judge. I only take my salary as director of Ghana School of Law. Yes.
So teaching is your passion. So you do the teaching for free.
Oh yes.
And but what about?
And last year, well, the auditors told me I could have earned 100,000 plus, but I didn't take it.
If you had wanted to.
Oh well, I didn't think that it was right. It will amount to double salary from the state.
I see. Because the work of a judge is quite demanding.
Oh yes, you have to write judgments.
But do you have a softer schedule as a judge because of your additional
No. Whenever the Chief Justice needs you, they will call. I was to sit on Monday, and I informed the Chief Justice I had to be in Kumasi. So I was scheduled for yesterday. We considered over 25 cases at a go. So
wow.
Once you have the energy, offer yourself and.
But you had practiced for many years as a private legal practitioner.
Well,
before you were nominated.
Let me say that I was called to the bar in '99, so I practiced for close to 25 years.
Your
as a
area
lawyer.
of interest as a lawyer, for somebody who's a non-lawyer, and based on the books you've written, you've said civil procedure, but I know you've done a lot on landed property.
Well, land, yes, because at the law school we teach what we call conveyancing.
Yeah.
The documentation that will enable you to acquire land and so. So what I do is normally when they are on break, I can just send a message that I just want to come there today to together do revision on say conveyancing. Yes, and I can also go to other classes. Well, again, I even also forgot. I also teach constitutional law at the post-call level.
For those who are
those who have done the law in
outside, because then they need
country.
to familiarize our constitution.
Yes, so I also teach them on record to teach them, and again, I don't take anything for them.
My question had to do with why land cases seem to dominate. I'm told that if you break down the number of cases,
it could be about 80%.
Yeah, land is it that it's a complex area or just human behavior? why are so many as against say other types of commercial disputes?
But obviously,
family law and stuff
land
like
is for me maybe apart from life. Land is one of the most important inheritance that you can ever acquire for yourself or bequeath to you. And so people have also now learned about how to protect their own land. The good thing about that, Bernard, that there is sufficient data to show that Ghanaians have never lost faith in the judiciary. I mean, matters that would have gone to, let's say, some deity, what no, they will now take it to court because they believe that in court they will get finality to the dispute. And now also we have the ADR system running very effectively. And so people are happy to go submit themselves to an independent arbiter, a judge or an ADR expert who is not sitting as a judge, able to resolve the matter and bring families who have been torn apart by serious land disputes. And so when you hear about it, I would have wished that at their level they could resolve them. But on the other hand, when you see so many cases coming to court, with all the problems we may have with it, it also confirms the absolute confidence that these people
the
have.
fact that they come to court,
tells
you that they believe the court is where they will get.
That is where
if they were not coming to court, it would have been a problem.
Yes.
So even though coming to court shows there's a problem, not coming to court would have been worse.
That is what I'm saying. But I'm saying that we would have wished that at the level of the chiefs, and they are doing a lot of work in settling some of these. Otherwise, the court would have been more choked, as it were, than you know. So I'm very happy that if these matters cannot be resolved amicably, they should just go to court, and there they can resolve the matter. I will tell you just some interesting one. In the district court, you can even see more. There was this case that my uncle asked me to represent the family in Nkoko. Then we went there. It's about land. The man said the lady has put a kiosk on his land, and she said, I took it from your father, not you, and so on. So the man took the matter to court. And there, when the case was to start, said they will show him, they showed him the Bible. He said, no, I don't want the Bible. The cross, the Quran, said no. So, my Lord, what else should I do? He said, okay, you can affirm on your faith.
Wow.
Then he said it in Chi. I said, Mom, the bar court. Say my me odi for Antonia Menkuno.
Ajay.
Means me di for Antonia Menkuno
in open court.
In open court.
My God.
And the judge called me, counsel.
What do I do?
And I said, my Lord, by the time we finish this case, one person would have died. So, well, we got settled.
Wow. That's interesting. In fact, when I come back, I'll ask you about that because I was going to go into being a traditional leader.
Yeah.
And combining that with court because there are also a number of chieftaincy disputes.
That's right.
How does the experience of that help? And then last week there was a very interesting front page story for the Graphic. Chiefs can renegotiate sold lands. Justice Osei at some training made some interesting comments about one of our important laws. We'll talk about that. This is the point of view. Don't forget, later we'll be bringing you highlights of the National Agribusiness Dialogue. Minister of Trade and others speak to us on the silence of that event. Don't go away.
Remember who we are seeing now. At risk of prostate enlargement. We remember or her 20 ebitimi prostate cancer. 5 bitimi afamu Nadia ubefamu.
Actually, this is not my fault.
And to wada, entina midi maniche Executive Prostate Center.
Executive Prostate Center is a unique medical center where we harmonize in-depth traditional medicine with cutting-edge science and technology to cure, to treat, and to prevent diseases like prostate enlargement, prostate cancer.
Executive Prostate Center. Madame facilities no any professional medical care.
Sisi a bibia clear our system no. Ye nro ne so de natural. Into we koso afama ye.
Executive Prostate Center. My cured.
Welcome back. This is still the point of view. Tonight we're speaking to Justice Yao Kodie Opon, but of course it's Nana, so Nana Justice, or as he said, his Nanaship. He is the Marahini of Achimbe Buakwa. He's the director of the Ghana School of Law. He's also a justice of the Court of Appeal. So, as a chief who's a judge, do you get a lot of chieftaincy disputes being deferred to you? So if maybe there's a discussion and they say, oh, okay, this is chieftaincy, so since you're a chief, let's push this to you. Is that something that practically happens? And even if it doesn't, would you say that being a chief makes it easier when you sit on a chieftaincy matter?
Well, first of all, at the Court of Appeal, any case can be given you. In fact, when we started yesterday, land, criminal cases, matrimonial, every case that is assigned to you, you should be able to determine it. So I haven't been lucky to be exclusively assigned a chieftaincy matter. But I will tell you that I sit, at least I've done one case at the chieftaincy level at the Traditional Council at Chebi. And I have another one that I'm going to start. So there, it's exclusively chieftaincy involving sub-chiefs as they are, and some dispute about whether the person was properly nominated, selected, elected, installed, and the rest of it. So I do that also at that level. But in the court, you are probably, when you get such matters, you can opt to write a judgment or a ruling if it is ripe for judgment. So that then your knowledge in the customary law, but mind you, customary law is not general in Ghana. It's the law applicable to particular communities in Ghana. So the fact that you are a chief in Achimbe Buakwa traditional area might not necessarily have equipped you with the knowledge of the law in, say, Wa, or a community in Wa, for example. So you are also careful not to think that what your customary law says should necessarily apply to other communities in Ghana and how they have also nurtured and built their own customary law.
Yes. Let's talk about this matter. So, last week, Justice Osei Tutu, who is
the Justice of Court of Appeal.
So your colleague?
Yeah, we were sworn in the same day, and he also teaches
he said
the Ghana
a change of a chief as a result of death, abdication, or dismemberment does not affect the status of land sale transactions existing within the jurisdiction before a new chief ascends the throne. Now, he said this during a certain training, and what I wanted you to comment on was that he observed that in spite of the various provisions in Act 1036,
the Land Act,
to ensure accountability of chiefs in the sale of lands, lapses in the Act had made it virtually impossible to enforce such a provision. For example, he said, although the act criminalized lack of accountability on the part of a chief in the sale of land, there was a lack of clarity on the ingredients of such an offense. Such challenge, he said, had made the provision on accountability of chiefs much ado about nothing.
Well, I have commented on this in my book. I think you have a copy. I should bring you a copy another time. So, number one, I have said that that provision that criminalizes lack of accountability by a chief, it is, well, the lawyers call it fumen brutum, toothless bulldog. Okay?
A toothless bulldog?
Yes, some say brutus fumen, but it's a toothless bulldog. Because, I mean, it is one of the provisions that the lawmakers should have known will not work. Rather, the system has its own inbuilt procedures and remedies for accountability. The first one is that they believe that if a chief squandered money meant for the stool or a head of family fails to account for monies that has come to him as a fiduciary, a trustee, you know the first punishment he may receive, the ancestors will call him to come and account.
So there's already spiritual accountability.
He will die. At least they believe in that.
Yeah.
And that is a more formidable remedy than to say that Ochiame or Ahinkwa or a member of the stool should actually go to the police station.
But what if he's not dying and he's still stealing our land?
That's aside. What do we do? There is also a ground for his removal. Chiefs, as we see it, are not as quote and unquote unaccountable as we think by using such laws. I have completely discounted it. And I'm not surprised that we are seeing is non-compliance, as it were. It's not going to work. Rather, I've suggested that there should be arbitration. Systems are in the palace that will rather work far better when you think the Ohima we see is not your ordinary Ohima, a very powerful institution, even though it's vested in a person. You understand? They have their own means. You imagine if you are Ohene in, say, Achimebuakwa or Asantimai, you'll be disturbed instantly. After, of course, they will give you a hearing.
So you're saying that within the customary arrangement, there are inherent remedies which may be more effective than the precision of the act.
Maybe they are actually more effective and potent. And this provision rather will end up creating more problems in the communities. You go and you take a chief to the police station. The chief is taken to court and convicted. Okay?
But it's not above the law.
I'm not saying it's above the law. There are other laws. Customary law is part of the laws of Ghana. Article 11.
But there's hierarchy of laws.
Well, the constitution itself is there. But what I'm saying is that we should make laws that have the potential to work.
You are saying people cannot enforce the law, Act 1036, when it comes to chiefs misconducting themselves in managing what they are supposed to be custodians of.
I'm only telling you that, as my good friend Justice Osetitu is saying, it is a law that no one who is even going to report the chief in the first place.
Maybe a rival.
Well, then after that, you come and ask them to install you.
But if the chief is violating the law, he should, because the other thing you said,
what I'm saying is,
don't forget, you said that customary law is not general, which is why we need a general criminal code. In some areas, customary law may prescribe things that can be a remedy to a chief's misconduct, but in some areas it may not. So I'm saying that we should rather elevate 1036 or whichever law, so that if a chief is in violation, it can be applied.
But it's there. It's in 1036 already.
So why are we not applying it?
So that is what I'm saying.
Because we are putting a wrong interpretation on the powers of chiefs.
I am not. What I'm telling you is that you see, we should make laws that work in our environment. Some of these laws, I've had the opportunity to critique them. Some are imported from elsewhere. Laws should be binding principles that people know that they have sufficient deterrence in them. Once the law is in the act, he's telling you that nobody is respecting it. Not that nobody is respecting it.
Because nobody is enforcing it.
Yes. Because who is even going to report the case to the police? So don't get me wrong. I'm saying that it's a good law. It must be there. But as far as I'm concerned, a more effective way to hold thieves accountable, and including suing him.
Could it be that could it be that offense has not been clearly defined well?
I don't think so. The fact of the matter is that it is a law that was stillborn. It was stillborn. I mean, dead on arrival. And it is important Parliament take a second look at it, and rather the systems that have been provided. There are more than 15 provisions on arbitration alone in Act 1036.
That may be a more useful way.
That would be a more useful way. Otherwise, then if the people don't go and report the chief to the police, then there will be impunity.
So for chief matters, for some of these matters, arbitration may be more sensible than regular
I won't
litigation.
even use may. It is indeed.
Arbitration is the way
it
to
is
go.
Indeed.
Interesting. So based on your reflections on all of this, are you minded to write another chapter on the merging of customary and
well, I believe in God, so I think God is speaking through. But I think the ancestors are also provoking, because that's exactly what I'm doing at the moment.
Because I think that we need that.
I'm actually writing on the influence of customary law on even our legal system in particular.
Because I think the issue of development is also a question of sometimes when you just pick the English common law and want to apply it to people who behave in a certain way. You know, the Japanese, the Chinese, and also of these guys who have developed.
They're not doing that.
They've understood. But that means people like you must step up and tell us that this is what tradition means, and this is how you explain it from the mindset.
Bernard, if you read the whole of chapter 1 of my book, in fact, substantial part, it's on customary law and how it evolved.
Maybe we are not reading it.
Yes, well,
because when we read that,
the book is too big. But
I'll read chapter 1 because I actually think that our development puzzle includes a lack of understanding of who we are.
Yes.
And if you are able to throw light on customary law because we were trained to think like the British.
Exactly so.
So you need to, but that's your job now.
Yes, we are on it. That's why I said that. If you take my book, every chapter is actually the beginning of a new book. So I've started with the customary law separately as a book.
Correct.
And you see that the interesting part is that our customary law is not rigid. It even admits to some relevant English principles. There's one I'll put in it.
Wonderful.
My mother never went to school when she died at 101, but she knew about mutual damage. Mutual damage. You understand? Yes, damages. All the lawyers call damages.
Yes.
Which is compensation for a wrong.
She understood that.
She also understood mesamount.
Yeah.
Which is summons. 90% of our cases, especially all cases on land, you have to commence the action by the issuance of a writ of summons.
Wonderful. By the way, when are you wrapping up your tenure?
Oh, well, I was given a term that will end not too long.
So this year?
No, not this year.
Next year?
Probably, but I mean...
we'll see how it goes, depending on how the law...
Don't direct my path, so whenever you ask me to turn that
depending on how the law goes, you may be the final director of the School of Law. But
I will never believe that the Ghana School of Law will cease to exist. Ever, not in our lifetime.
Okay. You know better than I do on these matters. Thank you, Nana Justice Berima Yaokodie Opon. I got that right. Amazing. When we come back, we'll take you to highlights of the National Agribusiness Dialogue, which was held a couple of days ago. The Minister, Elizabeth Osojare, and others spoke to us on the importance of that. Don't go away.
Ghana, get ready! The biggest sales event of the year is back. National Sales Leaders Conference 2025. Organized by Core Event Solutions. Powered by MGA Consulting and proudly supported by Chartered Institute of Marketing Ghana and Association of Ghana Industries. Happening on August 19th to 21st at the Accra International Conference Center. The special guest of honor for this big event is the Chief of Staff, Honorable Julius Deborah. Join over 2,000 participants including CEOs, Managing Directors, Sales and Marketing Heads, among others, for 3 unforgettable days of insights and high-level networking with 68 seasoned speakers tackling 25 impactful topics across various industries. This is the one event you can't afford to miss. Reserve your seats now. Visit www.nslcaccra.org or call 0502-711-070 to secure your ticket. NSLC 2025, redefining sales excellence for a dynamic market.
So we're here at the sidelines of the National Agri-Business Dialogue organized by the Ministry of Trade, Agribusiness and Industry. The minister herself has joined us to talk about this vision. Why is she so excited about this agribusiness forum? What is agribusiness, by the way, and how critical is it for national transformation? Honorable Elizabeth Ofoswe-Jare, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So even though I'm welcoming you here, this is your conference.
Yeah.
So many people. Why is this conference important and why have you invited all these guys here?
Thank you very much. As you rightly said, this is an agribusiness dialogue. This is leading to a policy formulation. And I think all the people in this subsector has to be invited. I want a policy that is inclusive, a policy that is coming from the people themselves, a policy that they can own so that at least it will be well implemented. If it's coming from them, then you know that it is going to solve a problem. It is going to create opportunities because you see, agribusiness has been there for long, but there hasn't been a policy properly so-called to manage it. And so I think that if you are doing a dialogue, you need to bring all of them to bear so that they will bring their expertise, their expectations, their fears, their anxieties. We will look at what it takes to have a good agribusiness policy. So I brought all these people together so that we have a near perfect agribusiness policy.
Some people are wondering why agribusiness is even under trade and industry, because some were expecting this to be under agric. Can you explain the link between agribusiness and trade and industry?
So agribusiness is there to solve a trade and industry problem. If we depend on agriculture by exportation of our produce, then you know we are not going anywhere. It is the second leg, that is the value addition, that helps. And value addition is industry. Value addition is trade. Once you produce, then you have to sell. So once you bring agribusiness in between trade and industry, you have brought it to its proper place because you are going to add value as in industry and you are going to trade as in trade. And so, you know, in trade, you are talking about both import and export. So the right place for agribusiness is the Ministry of Trade and Industry.
So what relationship do you have with ministries like agric, ministries like fisheries? Because I think there were reps from some of those ministries also here. How do you work with these other ministries?
Okay. So at the agribusiness subsector, we are interested in value addition.
Yeah.
So we are expecting the Ministry for Fisheries to bring up policies that help people to produce more fishes. If we have a lot of fish, we will be able to add value to fish as in tuna flakes that you see in the can. If we work well with the Ministry of Agric, they will scale up the production of raw materials so that we can add value to the raw materials. Even though at the agribusiness subsector, we are also interested in feeding industry. And in feeding industry, we do two things. We feed industry with agri products and non-agri products. So since you are talking about agribusiness, I'll talk about products from the farms. We specifically do what we call contract commercial farming. That one is specifically to feed industry. You know, we've done agriculture over the years and we still import about 90% of our raw materials to feed industry. So the institution of agribusiness in that industry is to give us the opportunity to produce raw materials in commercial contract quantities to feed our industry. You realize that there are some tomato factories that have shut down. The factories are in good shape. The only problem is raw materials. And so as I speak to you right now, there is a company in Brekum that we are working closely with to help them with commercial contract farming. So that one is not for your soup or stew. It's not for the market. It's for industry. And so we work well with the Ministry of Agriculture, even in helping us get the agriculture people to do the right things, proper agricultural practices. These we get the expert from the Ministry of Agric. So we work hand in hand with fisheries and agriculture to make sure that our industries are fed well, especially industries that produce agriculture.
Let's talk about finance.
Materials.
I know you invited finance people. There were 23 banks. All the development banks were there. We also know that MasterCard and some other development partners were also here. How critical is finance to agribusiness? And what are you expecting to hear from the deliberations from the finance group?
Okay, so when you are talking about agribusiness, it is finance, finance, and finance. To enable you do agribusiness, financing is very key. In other jurisdictions, cost of financing is good. In Ghana, cost of financing is very high. And so we continue to engage the financial institutions to let them know that if you are financing an agribusiness, the rates of interest has to be looked at. Fortunately, now Excellency John Dramani Mahama has created the enabling environment for businesses to thrive relative to interest rates. So we think that is a step in the right direction. The banks can also do better by giving long-term loans to agribusinesses, because it takes time for you to introduce a product, for the product to get attention, and before you can get the required sales. So if you take short-term loans, you are not likely to succeed and you cannot be competitive. And so we brought the financial institution to understand what we do, to understand what agribusiness brings to the table and the need for them to finance agribusiness. We also brought a lot of development partners because they are already helping us in the space. Top of MasterCard, they are doing a lot in the agribusiness area. And so we want more of these institutions, Agra, all of them to come on board. IFAD is also on board already. I want more to come on board for new products. I am excited that these development partners have come to listen to us, to see which area they can collaborate with the Ministry of Trade, Agribusiness and Industry to make sure that agribusiness is doing well.
You are from the Bono East region.
Yes.
It's part of what people consider to be Ghana's breadbasket.
Yes.
But for some reason, productivity is not that high. Indeed, today, one of the speakers said the 5 regions of the north plus OT, and I think your region, have over 60% of our arable land. Yet they don't have any strong agro-processing factory. Will this agribusiness exercise also mean the setting up of large-scale agro-processing plants in places like in Koranza or even from your place up? Because that's where the land is. It's a transition zone. We produce a lot of cashew, produce a lot of products, but it looks like all the factories are down south. What will this agribusiness forum and dialogue do for that as well?
Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to a policy that helps business people to locate their industries in other parts of the regions where raw material is available. I'm looking at Techiman, I'm looking at Mpuanza. In Techiman North, I'm putting up a cashew factory, and it's to process cashew apple, not the nuts. Because you see, we don't even pick the nut at all. If you process the cashew apple, it's value extension. And so you give more value to the cashew nut farmer who plants cashew. Originally, you will not have use for the cashew apple, but now if this factory starts, then after picking the nut, they also sell the cashew apple and make more money. And I'm looking forward to a policy that incentivizes business people to put factory in these areas so that we can have value addition and value extension.
This is the point of view. We have a special program today. We're bringing you conversations on the sidelines of the National Agribusiness Dialogue organized by the Ministry of Trade, Agribusiness and Industry. The sector minister has been talking to us about all the stakeholders here and why agribusiness is critical. She sees agribusiness as a bridge between trade and industry. She's talking about value addition, inputs and finance. Now, So after all the deliberation today, are we saying that the product will be a national agribusiness policy? Just walk us through what you expect and whether there will be any new law passed. What are we expecting after today's deliberation?
After this deliberation, we are looking forward to a policy that enhances agribusiness space, a policy that incentivizes people to invest in this area, a policy that makes the ease of doing agribusiness easy, a policy that helps the financing of agribusiness, a policy that helps in the production of raw material in the right quantity and right quality at the right time. I'm sure that this dialogue will be able to bring all these to bear. As you rightly asked me, all the people in the agribusiness space have been invited. They have done this for long. They know the challenges. They know the opportunities available. So I'm looking at them coming together to tell us what they need so that agribusiness can do well. As a ministry, we already have a draft, but we also want them to add their bit, practical bit. And as I indicated earlier, we want a policy that is inclusive, that solves a problem, and that gives opportunity.
Thank you very much indeed. We've been speaking to the Honorable Elizabeth Ifosu Ejare. She's MP for Techima North and Minister for the sector. Very exciting discussion. When we come back, we'll speak to more people as this National Agri-Business Dialogue continues here at the Kempinski Hotel. Stay with us.
Remember who we are seeing now. At risk of prostate enlargement. We a member or her 20 ebitiminya prostate cancer. 5 bitimi afamu nadia ubefamu.
Actually, this is not my fault.
And to wada entina midi maniche Executive Prostate Center.
Executive Prostate Center is a unique medical center where we harmonize in-depth traditional medicine with cutting-edge science and technology to cure, to treat, and to prevent diseases like prostate enlargement, prostate cancer.
Executive Prostate Center. Madame home facilities no any professional medical care.
Sisi a bibia clear our system no. Ye no ne so de natural. Into we koso afama ye.
Executive Prostate Center. My cured.
Every day is packed with its own surprises. You never know which thrill is around the corner.
Feel good. Feel good.
Or how it will play out. There's a sense of excitement.
Did our plane just stop? Another cash out.
That adds a little magic to my everyday.
Feels like a party tonight.
We're still here at the sidelines of the National Agribusiness Dialogue, and it's brought to us by the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Agribusiness. One of their key partners and sponsors is PwC. The senior country partner is Vish Ashiabo. He's joined us to just touch briefly on some of the things he thinks the dialogue should focus on. But let me start with what role, because I know you guys audit, you do, I think you do 4 things: advisory. What's the other one?
We're a full-scale professional services firm. That's how we like to describe it.
I know. I just want to remind listeners. So something called audit,
assurance, tax, advisory services, basically consulting, risk services, deals. Yes, that's what we do.
How big is agri and agribusiness in your portfolio?
Well, to be honest, currently it's not that big, but it ought to be. Because if you take a country like Ghana, and I think you hear it in so many discussions and dialogues about how agri, in fact, ought to be the center of everything we do in this country because of the potential it has to spur on our GDP growth.
Yeah.
But beyond that, also the job creation, and then the impact it can make on the lives of most of our citizens.
Yeah.
So it really ought to be more than it is. And again, that's why we're so interested in this discussion.
Since you are coming just off the budget,
yes,
I couldn't help but notice that agric employs 39 point something % of the people. That's about 40%.
Yes.
Yet GDP contribution of agric is 19.
Yes.
So basically, 4 out of 10 Ghanaians are working in agric.
That's right.
but they are producing only 2 out of 5.
Yeah.
Or actually, 2 out of 10 of our output. So that tells you there's a productivity problem there. Based on the work you do at PwC, what's the missing link there?
So the missing link, I think, was clearly articulated in the morning session. So some of the experts who spoke, I think, made reference to the fact that most of the value comes from the latter part of the chain, the agribusiness side, the processing, the manufacturing into further manufacturing. Whereas in our situation, we are unfortunately still focused on the primary agriculture aspect of it. And again, that is why we are so interested in this dialogue and this discussion, because if we can connect the primary to the value addition, to the processing, and then to the market, then we all benefit. So I believe, and we believe as PwC, that this is the missing link. And this is what this dialogue ought to be focusing on.
One big issue is financing.
Yes.
Generally, the types of financing available for agric is not diverse. So you have a lot of people in commercial banks. We have 23, but some people feel commercial banks may not be the best. So we've now done things like Gesal. We've brought in DBG. But somehow, interest rates are stubbornly very high. Some people discuss structural issues in the sector. Again, what do you think? What are we missing when it comes to the finance conversation for agric and agribusiness?
So, Bernard, it's actually pretty straightforward. The solution may not be straightforward, but what we're missing is clear. It's, again, back to the link between primary agriculture and the value addition piece of it. So, again, as was discussed in this morning's session, we are heavily reliant on rain-fed agriculture.
Okay.
Right? So now, if you're a financier, you are thinking about the whole chain in terms of when you invest the money or you lend the money to, let's say, an entrepreneur or to a farmer in this case, how are you eventually going to get that money back? What are the risks that you're going to face in that process, and how do you mitigate those risks? So if we can modernize and use technology, innovation, use data, for example, that can reduce the risk of the chain. And simple things, well, maybe it's not so simple because there's money involved, but things like irrigation, right? So that you're not dependent on, or not entirely dependent on weather patterns, etc. All of that can help reduce the risk of financing. And as I'm sure you will appreciate, the rate at which lenders give out money is heavily determined by the risk associated with the lending that they are making. And the agri sector, unfortunately, has been deemed and continues to be deemed to be very, very risky, simply because we're not as modernized as we ought to be.
All right. So we need to de-risk the sector.
Absolutely.
Now, but generally, the macroeconomy seems to be stabilizing. We are in a lower inflation period than we're like 2 years ago. I think inflation is around 13-ish.
About 13 years.
Yeah. The T-bill rates have come down.
Yes.
Exchange rate has also pretty stabilized.
Yes.
The only thing we're waiting for is the MPC rate, which we sort of, a lot of people expect to come down. Just a quick thought around that. How critical is the macro for the kind of long-term transformation we need from agric? Because a lot of times, even the details around the risk and things in the sector, if the macro is unstable, people are not confident to even put money back in. We seem to have stabilized in the past 6 months. How long do you think this should last for other players to see that we are in some sort of transformative era?
So the discussion about the macros, yes, it affects the agric sector, but it affects all sectors.
Correct.
So to that extent, if the macro environment is stable or more stable than it has been, your entrepreneur, your investor, your lender will not necessarily come to the agric sector because they have other sectors they could go into.
Yeah.
So I think we need to be looking at the situation holistically when we talk about agriculture. So the macro is one side of it, but there are some risks that are inherent and that are specific to the agric sector. And so if we're able to mitigate those risks, coupled with the stability that the macro environment provides, then I think we can direct funds or more funding towards the agric sector. Because in actual fact, agric, again, as was said in this morning's session, everybody should be interested in it because at the end of the day, we all eat. And therefore, it would ordinarily seem like a good business venture to invest in agriculture. But the risks in our current environment are so significant, and that's why we're not attracting the financing. So one of the outcomes of this dialogue, we hope and we expect, will be some tangible actions to further de-risk the sector so that even as the macros stabilize, then more funding can be directed to that sector as opposed to others that are perhaps less risky on the face of it.
I know that PwC, you do sector-specific work, energy,
yes,
infrastructure. Has Agri caught your attention in that sense, in terms of its transformative capacity? Would you be minded going forward to invest a bit more brain power into that sector to guide government policy on agri and agribusiness going forward?
Bernard, absolutely. And that's one of the reasons why we agreed to be part of this dialogue.
Yeah.
Again, part of what we do in PwC, or what we aim to do, is to bring some of our competence, our skills, to support economic development generally, because we all benefit from that. And today, when you look at how agric is going in different parts of the world, people are focusing on data, people are focusing on technology, people are focusing on climate, and general environmental and social matters. These are all areas that PwC is interested in. And we have the privilege of being able to draw expertise from across our international network that we can bring to bear and to make good impact for all of us here in Ghana. So absolutely. Yes, we haven't been traditionally known as a Greek people, but we're beginning to take those steps. And it's an area that we're very interested in because of the transformative opportunity that it affords.
So you actually believe that from being agrarian, if we are going to industrialize, agro-industrialization should be the starting point?
Yes. I guess we already have some, so I wouldn't say a starting point, but we need to make it more resilient and to build upon it. And then we need to connect the dots from the primary to the processing and then to the market. And in today's environment, with the kind of technology that's available, with the kind of data insights that are available, we think it's absolutely possible.
Let's end with ESG.
Yes.
What is ESG and why is it important in a conversation about formulating a policy for agribusiness?
So ESG is all about sustaining the ecosystem, if I can put it that way. There is no point in doing something today that then creates a problem for you or for all of us tomorrow. So in simple terms, ESG is how we ensure that there's continuity, the sustainability, and that we protect the environment that all of us live on, so to speak. So in the context of the conversation we're having today, we believe that it's a critical element. I was in one of the breakout sessions just before I came down to talk to you, where ESG is being discussed. And we're talking about preserving trees, for example, because it helps in terms of the climate, and there are other benefits, that we could talk about at length. But suffice to say that it's all about making sure that there is a tomorrow and that for future generations, they can also have the benefit of being able to feed themselves.
Thank you, Visha Shiabo. Always good talking to you.
Thank you very much.
He's the senior country partner for PwC, who are one of the partners here at the National Agribusiness Dialogue happening at Kempinski Hotel. There's more. Stay with us.
Every day is packed with its own surprises. You never know which thrill is around the corner.
Feel good. Feel good.
Or how it will play out. There's a sense of excitement.
Did our plane just stop? Another cash out.
That adds a little magic to my everyday.
Feels like a party tonight.
We're still here at the sidelines of the National Agribusiness Dialogue. Over 72 private sector firms, 23 financial institutions and more, 16 trade unions and business associations, 6 CSOs, and a large number of government agencies. Pivotal to this is the Agri Impact Group. That group is both a sponsor and the technical organizer for this event. Daniel Fahin Akwe gave a resounding speech before the president spoke, and he is talking to us now about why this is very important. Mr. Akwe, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Bernard.
Wow. That was a great speech.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness. You sort of explained why we needed an agribusiness ministry.
Yeah.
Even up until now, we didn't even know why it had to stay with trade. You explained it so well. Why is agribusiness critical to you? Because I know you do a lot of work in agric. Why is agribusiness critical, and why is this conference important?
Agribusiness is a layer on agriculture. So anytime you promote agriculture without promoting agribusiness, you are likely to have high post-harvest losses, and you also don't get value for money, because the value in agriculture is actually in agribusiness. Now, when you see programs, they distribute fertilizers, agro-input seeds. Every time we are providing tractor services, and most of the time it is towards agriculture. But where are the agro-processing companies who will take the raw material that will come and process them into value-added products? So the market will take what it can take, the rest will go into post-harvest loss. And that is why, because there is that huge disconnect between agriculture and agribusiness, that is why we have a post-harvest loss valued at $2 billion.
Wow.
And I gave an example that in South Africa, primary agriculture contributes 2.9% to their GDP. But when you bring in agro-processing, the logistics and the transport and the services together, then agribusiness alone contributes 10% to the economy. And that translates to $41 billion that agribusiness breaks into the South African economy.
You said something quite interesting. Let's not say what agribusiness can do. We already know. Let's now talk about what we can do for agribusiness. Can you explain that?
Yes. There is empirical and spiritual evidence telling us what agribusiness can do. And we have said this over and over. Oh, agribusiness can create jobs. Agribusiness will transform our economies. We'll come back and say that, oh, agribusiness can increase our GDP. Oh, agribusiness will reduce unemployment. So now we know what agribusiness can do. So agribusiness is now asking us the question, what can you also do for me? Because I have told you what I can do. So I am also sitting in the chair. You have sat in the chair and I've gone around working for you. Now I'm sitting in the chair. I'm also asking you, what can you do for me? So I want us to move from situation where we keep talking about potential without impact. We need to move away from potential. Agri-impact has the potential to, yes, we know. We don't want that again. We want to say agri-impact has done. And that is why I say we should move away, we should have a journey moving from it can or we can to we will, and tomorrow we come and say we have. And that is all that I want to say.
You developed 5 thematic areas for this dialogue. I would like to touch on each of them briefly. So let's start with agriculture, finance, and investment. The minister said agribusiness is finance, finance, finance. You invited Kwesi Krobo to lead that session. What is the missing link in agri finance and investment that you expect some recommendations on?
Fortunately, we had the opportunity to participate in some of the flagship projects like 1D1F. And since we are also in the agribusiness space, we do develop business plans, investment plans for agribusiness firms. You will go back to the firms and realize that it is not necessarily they have the intention not to service their loans or they have the intention not to apply the funds, but the kind of financial product that was given to them was just not conducive for the work. I visited a factory where the business owner has done investment plan. It rained and there was a huge erosion around the factory with gullies. Now he has to move some of the working capital to fix the investment or the infrastructure that automatically reduces his working capital. In the end, you have a factory and no working capital to operate. And that is what we've been seeing along. When it happens, then the agro-processing firms are saddled with what we call legacy debt and does not even make it possible to go for additional loans. So we need what we call agri-fund. And that agri-fund, I said, we have an extractive industry. And agriculture is a regenerative industry. It's not extractive. So the revenue and the royalties that we are getting from the extractive industry, why don't we set aside a percentage and move it into an agri-fund? When you have agri-fund, you can plan because you can predict and know that every year I am going to get X amount of dollars or X amount of cedis into the fund. It helps the government to even have a long-term planning, which is sustainable in nature, because you know the inflows will be coming annually. It's different from going to look for a loan, whether you get it or not, you are not sure, and then you start, and then there's you are unable to service loan, as government, and then funding is cut. Then agribusiness is hanging in there. We definitely need...
So you are pushing this agri-fund concept.
Seriously.
You mentioned it in the past.
Yes.
You've said it again.
Yes.
The president has taken note.
Yes.
You don't think it will become... You know that a lot of times when people have government funds, sometimes people see it as a chance of just sharing it to party apparatchiks. So what systems must be put in place to ensure that this fund works?
We've had Get Fund.
Yes.
And with Get Fund, I know that there is governance of the fund.
Mm-hmm.
So we can't just set up agri-fund and say we have agri-fund. We need to also have the governance of the agri-fund to make sure that there is value for money and there is accountability. And it must tie in with a strategy. So we don't just have the fund and the money is sitting and today... No, there's a strategy and we are raising the funds to meet and implement the strategy. But governance of the fund will be very critical.
The other sector is agro-industrialization, value chain development, and market access. What is this and why is it important?
If you take the northern part of Ghana, which constitutes 64% of our land, adding OT region to it, tell me 5 major or large-scale agro-processing firms, indigenous agro-processing firms that you can find on a land that constitutes 64% of our total land area. It's not there. So when we talk of agro-industrialization, we are looking at a situation where we'll have agro-industrial hubs in strategic locations, very intentional in nature. Very, very intentional in nature so that we direct investment into these agro-processing hubs. When we direct investment, there is irrigation, road networks are built, warehouses are there, agro-processing facilities are there, electricity is there. Once government opens up, private sector will quickly jump into it and they will deepen investment, leveraging on the initial investment of government and the public sector.
Thank you, Daniel Fahini-Akwe. We've been speaking to the CEO of the Agri-Impact Group here at the sidelines of the National Agri-Business Dialogue.